Hello everyone. So I'm able to rebuild the engine and in past couple days I put back the oil pump, fan, timing cover and flywheel, clutch blade. Last night I mounted on the tractor. This video is just for a note for me, myself, and for others if they want to know how to put it back, the engine with the rest of the transmission. Is not difficult. First of all, if you have a head, this is the configuration I have. Like I'm attaching one side of the chain on second bolt, not the first bolt. This is the second bolt, which is this one, this way, and the other one is the second bolt, second bolt from on the other side. So it's like crisscrossed, and it is balanced right in the middle. The way you can put it back, the engine, is first make sure this plate is clamped with the engine block, this mating plate. It only attaches to, but it does not bolt on until you put it back with the engine. So what the steps I took to attach it is very simple. I lifted up the engine and lifted high enough so the transmission shaft and the engine clutch plate is aligned at the same level. Just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be precise. You will have some wiggle room because of the chain, and make sure your transmission is level almost or slightly up. So it's basically not 90 degrees like this, it's tilted backward, being a little higher up. So that's the way I did, and I eyeball it. Both sides were on equal height, and then I brought this engine hoist towards the rest of the engine, and I try to push it as much as I can on the transmission shaft and engine plate. Then last few inches it will not go easily if you just try. So what I did is, before actually pushing it to each other, I actually rotated the transmission shaft so the splines were aligned in a way it will go easily into the clutch plate splines. So that's what I did, and I put some grease so it will be sliding easily. However, it's not gonna go that easy unless you are lucky. So what you need to do is have a socket wrench ready, and all you need to do is have someone else help, like a second hand, and while you are wiggling and pushing towards the engine, try to rotate the engine a little bit, like left and right, so it will basically align with the splines on the shaft, and then it was very easy to push back. Also, there are two important holes where I put the bolts. So this hole on this side, and similar hole on this side, this one. What you need to do is have a socket extension rod or something with this thick. What you need to do is slide it while it's hanging. So what it will do is it makes a guide and actually make the engine properly align on the sideways. So, and that it makes it very easy. So the overall time it took me for doing this, all these steps, took me 5 minutes, and I was able to slide it back. So this is my second time I did it, and it's easier. My kids helped me, so that was easy. Now it's ready. I haven't tied these bolts to torque yet, but I'm going to do it soon. Then the next step would be install the distributor, install the rocker arm assembly, and then I will put the front end on the engine before I proceed. So now it should be easy. I have also tested the oil pressure. It's holding 40, between 40 and 60 easily. Depends on my drill machine RPM. That's very important. So I do not know what RPM I'm running my drill machine, so I try to go in the middle. But however, I was able to test the oil pressure, as well as I was able to see oil was coming up all the way here. What you need to do is, just to make sure, if you want to see oil is coming up all the way up to the rocker arm assembly, is make sure your first number one piston is on top dead center, top dead center, TDC, mean it's ready to fire, and that way your camshaft will be aligned in a way that it will make a passage, full passage from bottom all the way up to the tube, because the passage for this tube is controlled by the camshaft groove or hole. It's not continuously one single passage. It's basically depends on the position of the camshaft. So if you do not see, if you are running the drill machine and pressurizing the oil pump and trying to prime it, and if you don't see any oil is coming, make sure make sure your camshaft is in the right position. And the best way is, either you can open these inspection hole, this one, and this one. These are inspection holes for the camshaft. But if you cannot figure it out, what you can do is, while spinning the drill machine, spinning the oil pump, you can have someone rotate the engine half inch, like a tiny step, gradually, and while you're running, suddenly you will see, as soon as the camshaft will align and create a passage, you will see a fast flowing oil will come right through the tube. It's not difficult. An easier way is basically have someone rotate it while you are spinning the oil pump. So that's already documented. The passage for the head and rocker assembly passage is documented in the manual. So that's what it is. Now I think I should be okay. The only thing I'm concerned right now is, I remember I have to actually prime the hydraulic pump now, because it's completely drained. One more thing I did is, there is a square box kind of under this transmission, and if you see, there are 4 bolts. This one, it's a plate. What happened is, when I open, before installing the engine, I will try to clear the bell housing, and what I found out, a lot of dirt from inside was there, and I thought it's a tiny dirt, I can scrape it with paper towel, and I did. But then I realized there is one bolt missing, and there are 3 of them. So as I went ahead and removed it, when I removed the plate, a big chunk of caked dirt came out. It was like completely like a half-inch thick loaf of dirt. so this is I believe one purpose of this plate or axis is to basically make sure it's an access to basically clear. My camera is not focusing for some reason. So come on. Okay, so going back, this area is basically It has multiple purposes. One is basically it has big enough cavity where you can open this plate and access inside of the bell housing. You can, if you have a cable camera, you can actually use it, inspect the pressure plate and the clutch plate, and also the the shaft. Or it's supposed to be, this bell housing is supposed to be dry. No oil should be there unless something is leaking. So if it's leaking, if let's say, if forbid, if my rear main seal of this engine leaks again, I should be able to open it and see oil should be accumulating here. And this plate is not completely blocked. It has 4 holes. 4 hole mean 4 holes, 5 holes, 4 hole for the screw to mount it, and there's a middle hole is basically simply needs to be open, so if there's oil accumulation, it should drain out on its own. So I should be able to see anything, any accumulation of oil, if it's going to be, it should be dripping from there. So it should be open. I believe it gets blocked because it's a tiny hole and it's open. Any dirt can go while you are using the tractor, can go and fill up this cavity. So what I found out is like a very thick dirt. Light conditions are not really good, but anyway, so just to make sure like these things are you are aware of. That's all. I will proceed further and complete the installation. Bye everyone. I reassembled the entire engine. Everything is put together, all electrical, coolant, engine oil, everything is working. I tested the ignition timing, and everything will look good. I'm gonna crank it up and see how it goes. Good evening everyone. So as you know, I was rebuilding the engine and everything. Today is the final day. I completed the assembly of the engine. All parts intact now, hydraulics, everything. I checked the fluid levels everywhere. So I have a spec sheet online, and someone actually went through a lot of effort and put it all the information, especially the fluid capacities on this tractor. Fuel capacity basically for this tractor is 11 gallon for 600 series, 11 gallons. Cooling system, it takes 15 quarts. That means 15 quarts. And crankcase capacity, which is engine oil, is 5 quarts with filter change. So basically I do not understand what does it mean, but it means there are 2 ways. One is you first fill the filter and install it, which I did initially, and then you put 5 quarters plus the amount of the oil in the filter. So I'm not sure that's total 5 quarts or is a 5 point something plus. So that's one thing. And transmission capacity for 4-speed, this is a 4-speed, is a 5 quarts, which I refill. And I can, in this video, I can show you what to do. So for cooling, there is a drain right here. This one, I installed a new drain. This is the fill cap. Make sure I don't remember I saw a thermostat in this coolant passage. That's where you install. So I'm not sure, but next time if I open it, I will check and install a new thermostat for the cooling. The other thing is, so radiator coolant goes here, and the capacity I already told you. The second thing is engine oil, which you put it from here. This is the place where you fill, you take it out. It's a pressure fit, but you can remove it by hand without unassembling or using this butterfly nut, removing it. You can just simply grab it and pull out, but it hurts sometimes because if it grabs your finger grabs the sheet metal or anything. That's one thing, and you can drain from the bottom, you know already. However, the plugs are same kind of plugs for transmission, for hydraulic, and for the differential. Yeah, I'm sorry. So these the caps are same. So bottom cap for the engine oil drain is same as this one, and also if I lift it up, you can see this is for the hydraulics, this is for transmission, and this is for differential to fill the oil in these. And I put the same kind of oil in all three compartments, and the reason I've refilled it because when I disassembled the engine, split the engine from the transmission first time, it actually I actually lost a lot of oil during that exercise. So I'm not sure how to prevent that if you are going to split it, but I may be able to. If you lift high before unassembling or splitting this engine or tractor, if you lift high and instead of keeping it level, bring your tractor front end a little higher so it's on incline, probably that will push almost more oil on the back of the tractor in their own pump or the sump, oil sump or oil reservoirs, so it won't leak from the front of the tube or from the transmission. So that may be my suggestion, but I'm not sure. I haven't tried it, so I'm not sure it's going to work for you or not if you are going to split the engine. So these are the fill caps, 1, 2, and 3, and I have to actually fill only a small amount of oil. Most of the oil I fill was in the transmission, and only a little bit in hydraulic, and almost nothing in the differential. How you check when you are filling the oil? For hydraulic, there is a dipstick to measure the oil, how much it is, which is here. You can remove it and you can check. This is very loose for me. I think there is some kind of insert, so I'll make sure it's secure. But there is only one dipstick for hydraulic and only for one on engine on the other side, but there's nothing for transmission and for the differential. How you actually one way is to drain both compartments or all three compartments completely, drain the oil, so you know you can use the measured capacities in a container, and then put it all the way in, so it should take it. But if you are not sure or you don't want to drain the existing oil, what you can do is basically there are some inspection holes or the level holes for transmission. Right there is a it's called iron pipe or pipe fitting bolt. Is a square shape. You can remove it and start filling it. If it doesn't leak, when the oil reach to a point, maximum point, it will start draining from this plug. So you have to either remove it completely and then start filling and see if it leaks. As soon as it leaks, you can put back the plug for transmission. So this is the inlet for the transmission. This is the drain. Actually, it's not a drain plug, it's a level plug. Drain plug is under the transmission. So these are basically three different ports. One is for the inlet input, like where you put your oil. This is for inspection, and there's a bottom in the bottom right here. If you see this right here, this one is a drain. I also noticed while I never went underneath, but I did clean up this one. In my previous video I showed you, this is a plate. You remove it so you can reach inside the transmission bell housing, and you will find, if it's an old tractor, you will find at least a 1-inch thick piece of dirt blocking this passage. So make sure you remove the entire plate with 4 bolt out, and you can clean it up. And there's a hole in the middle of the plate which is not plugged. It is there to relieve any oil accumulation if it leaks inside the bell housing from the engine or from the transmission. And this one is similar plate. I haven't got a chance to clean it up. I have another project lined up sometime in my life. I will split the transmission and rest of the rear end and clean it up and rebuild it, but that's the plan. So the drain for the hydraulic is there, right in my finger. It's the same kind of drain plug like this. And so that was 2 drain plugs I showed you, and how you can measure the hydraulic is through the dipstick. For differential, there is a inspection port which is right here, this one. So on the left side of the differential, this is the inspection or fill level port. You're going to open it same way as you're going to do for the transmission, and fill it up to where it starts leaking, and then plug it back. That's all. So these are fluid checks. So I did not mention how much fluid it goes in each. I did not complete it. So this is the website I'm using, and the website address is this. So you can use this, and it has all the information, capacities and clearances. So I'm using this website for the amount. So it says all the information. Transmission takes 8 quarts, 5 quarts for 600, and hydraulic system takes 8 quarts, but mine did not leak.